Shazam! Now, the DCEU has been kind of getting itself into a little pickle lately. I mean, sure, I'm probably one of the few people who like the DC Extended Universe. I'm sure there's others, but at the end of the day, the DC Extended Universe is just absolutely hated. But ever since Aquaman showed up, it appears that DC just might have a bright future. And with the release of Shazam, I can see that the DCEU is definitely heading in a whole new, better direction. Shazam was a good movie. Like, really good. I mean, where do I even begin? Let's start off with the characters. Billy Batson, he is a kid who wants to find his long-lost mother, even runs away from foster homes because he just doesn't want to live in a foster home. He wants to be with his real mother, and he is very determined until he gets his powers, in which case he starts becoming kind of a selfish asshole, which, don't get me wrong, that's actually not a bad thing, because let's face it, kids are assholes, I should know. But the thing is, what makes Billy Batson a good character is the fact that he's not some good, heart-filled, pure of heart protagonist. He's just a kid, which makes it grounded in reality, even though there's nothing realistic about Shazam. But at the end of the day, Billy Batson is a character who's grounded in reality, and that's what makes him good. He is just a kid. I mean, if a kid got the powers to turn into an adult whenever he wants, I mean, he would buy beer, he would make some show-off stuff, like show lightning hands and get money off of it. And overall, yeah, Billy Batson starts off as a selfish kid, but that's good because that's grounds him in reality. And besides, he goes through a character arc about becoming, less selfish and more selfless, and he eventually becomes the hero that we all needed him to be. He becomes Shazam. And aside from Billy Batson, there's also this kid named Freddy, and Freddy, I can relate to. We're both nerds. And, you can feel sympathy for Freddy, he kind of wants attention, he wants to be noticed by people, and it's kind of sad when Shazam kind of ditches him. He ditches him because, he said he was going to show up to the school lunch to show off, hey, my superhero best friend and all that, but, he ditches him, and it's kind of sad. But don't worry, that happens at the end of the movie, so it's all good. Overall, Freddy, sympathy. Sympathy, my dude. And of course, what surprised me about Shazam is the villain. The villain! Oh boy. Normally, you kind of tend to forget the villains in modern superhero movies. Of course, there are exceptions like Loki and Thanos, but you never expect Shazam to have a memorable villain. I mean, this villain, he's basically a kid who was summoned by the wizard that gave Shazam's powers, and he kind of wanted to be the Shazam. He wanted to be the chosen one. He wanted to be a man, but he didn't get that opportunity. That opportunity was taken away from him, and now he spends the rest of his life trying to, trying to figure out how to get back to that fantasy, how to become that fantasy. Overall, the villain was surprisingly memorable and good. I never expected that. And yeah, the rest of the characters were pretty minor, but they all had their time to shine. But really, I really like Billy Batson. He is my favorite protagonist, okay? Second favorite. Anyways, now let's get to the story. The story is not that complicated. It's basically, like I said, the villain is trying to figure out how to gain power, how to become the chosen one, the champion. And Billy Batson, he's trying to find out where his mom is, And all of this coincidentally leads up to the wizard summoning Billy Batson, and he chooses him as champion. Billy is, of course, he becomes Shazam, and Freddy, teaches him all about, how to be a superhero and stuff, but, Billy just kind of is a selfish asshole, really, but that's his character arc. He starts off kind of an asshole, but then, as he learns about the importance of family, he learns about, the importance of being a superhero. With great power comes great responsibility. It's kind of the same story done before, but obviously with a new twist. Like, it's a kid who becomes a superhero. It reminds me of that old 1980s movie called Big. You remember that with Tom Hanks? You don't know? Oh, you uncultured swines. But anyways, the point I'm trying to make here is the story, even though it's not totally original, it's actually really good for the way it is. You know, the characters go through stuff, they learn new lessons at the end, you know, it's really good. Overall, the story, pretty good. Now, I want to take a moment to take down the special effects. The special effects of this movie are surprisingly good. You know, CGI nowadays, you can easily tell it's fake, you know, it's all fakey, fakey, fake. But for some spare moments, I thought that, you know, maybe it was all stunt work. The point here is the effects, they're all pretty good. But my favorite part of the effects was the CGI Seven Deadly Sins. Oh boy, those things were pretty scary, okay? The Seven Deadly Sins, it makes you question, was Shazam supposed to be PG-13 or R-rated? Because the Seven Deadly Sins, let's just say they're gonna go Dark Crystal on your kids. If you don't know what the Dark Crystal is, maybe you guys don't get that reference. But the point is, the Seven Deadly Sins are some scary-ass motherfuckers. They really are scary. They just give me nightmares. Yeah, the special effects in this movie were pretty good. Overall, Shazam has great characters, it has a good story, and the special effects were pretty good. And I guess the biggest thing that I like about Shazam is how it embraces, you know, the campy superhero stuff while also being serious enough to, you know, to be taken serious. And, you know, instead of like 1960s Batman where it was hard to take serious. But here, I could take this pretty seriously while also embrace the fact that some of it can be a little bit cheesy. But you know what? That's me. I love campy movies. Overall, guys, Shazam just might prove that the DC Extended Universe has a future, because Shazam was a good movie. Now, what would I say the rating for this movie should be? Well, I'll give this movie a rating of 8 stars out of 10. I'm not giving it a 10 out of 10, obviously, that's never going to happen, but I'm also not going to give it a 9 out of 10 because, like every movie, there are a couple of flaws within Shazam. But overall, Shazam is a good movie, and I highly recommend it you see in theaters, okay? Because this movie was just really good, alright? Well, guys, that was Math Dominus is at the movies. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.